In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the steering knuckle on your Dodge Charger located behind your front wheels. Using a 22mm socket, let's loosen and remove our lug nuts. Remove the wheel and set it aside. Using a 21mm socket, we want to go ahead and loosen and remove our bolts here, holding our brake caliper and bracket assembly. On the back side of our knuckle here, we have our brake flex hose and there's a bracket right there. We use our 10mm socket on our ratchet. I want to loosen and remove this bolt. Now that we have our lower bolt loose here, let's go ahead and loosen our upper bolt. I am going to go ahead and loosen and remove our lower bolt first. That way there, the upper bolt will hold the assembly. Good, remove that bolt. Now before you move the caliper and bracket, you want to make sure that you have a support tool like this here. What we're going to do is slide this off. And we're going to hook our caliper and bracket and set this up and hang it off of our strut spring. Now at this point here, our rotor is going to be free floating, so simply just grab that, slide that off the hub on the front, and set that aside. Now right here is an ABS speed sensor. I'm going to use my 1/4-inch ratchet. These are generally pretty easy to take out as far as the bolt goes. Now the speed sensor itself should slide out of the knuckle. Sometimes you can use some pliers here and gently grab this here, and you want to kind of rock this gently. Now there is a risk of this breaking. So you want to gently work this back and forth. You can always soak it down with some rust penetrant as well. And you need to have patience with these here, soaking them, working them gently. In most cases, you can get them out. Now on the back side of our hub, we have 3 50mm bolts. There's one here, one at roughly about 12 o'clock, and then there's one diagonal over on the front side. We're gonna use our 15mm and our 3/8 ratchet. I'm gonna loosen and remove all 3 of these bolts. Get the one up at about 12 o'clock here. All right, we have that top one removed. You can grab that knuckle and rotate that. And get to that front bolt. Now our hub itself can be separated from the knuckle. Sometimes it'll fall right off. We're gonna go ahead and use our hammer. have it. And with the hub out, we can see our ABS speed sensor right here. And we can go ahead and hit this side with some rust penetrant as well and let that soak in. We can see that sensor is moving now. So we're gonna try and push that with our finger while we're using the pliers and push that out. And there it is, we got our sensor up, so we're gonna clean that. Use a 10mm socket to loosen and remove the bolts for the backing plate. Using our 21mm socket, we're going to loosen and remove our tie rod nut. Just going to throw the nut back on that for now. We have our lower forward control arm ball joint here, 21mm. Loosen and remove that. On the other side here, we have our lower rearward control arm, but the nut is on the top side. So let's go ahead and loosen and remove that. Now you could use a swivel socket on this here, or just put some weight behind your wrench. On our upper control arm ball joint, use an 18mm to remove this nut. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the nut back on just a couple threads. We're going to use this as a capture nut. That means once we loosen and remove the lower ball joints, the whole knuckle won't drop down. This will capture it so it won't fall. Let's move to the lower portion. And what we're going to do is we're going to strike the knuckle here and the lower control arm here to loosen these ball joints. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses when doing this job. That one's loose. The bottom is loose. Let's move up to the top. That control arm is going to spring upward, so make sure that that knuckle is braced. And then we can slide this off. Install the upper. Just thread the nut on to capture that. Now let's move to the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to take our rear ball joint, slip that into the rear control arm, and then we're going to take our forward control arm ball joint and slip that down. All right, so when I get our nut installed here, now I want to go ahead and install the nut on our lower forward ball joint here. Let's snug these down. I'm going to install our tie rod end. We'll snug that down. Let's go ahead and feed your ABS speed sensor into the back of the knuckle. Go ahead and get that bolt started. We just want to go ahead and snug that down. So once that bolt bottoms out, just give it a little bit more just to snug it into place. We're going to apply some anti-seize compound to the outer flange here. Just a thin coat. And we're going to put a little bit on the inside as well. We're going to steer clear of the ABS speed sensor. Don't want to get that on there. Line up our backing plate. Get our bolts started. Tighten these down. Take your wheel hub, get that lined up. Now let's install our bolts from the back. I want to get all three of these started, and then we'll go ahead and snug those down. Let's go ahead and torque down our 3 hub bolts to 41 foot-pounds. And repeat for the other 2. We're going to go ahead and put a light coat of anti-seize compound on our hub face. Install your brake rotor. I'm going to throw 1 lug nut on here. That's going to keep our rotor from falling off like that while we install our brake caliper and bracket. Remove the caliper and the bracket. Get everything lined up here. Slide this over. And once this is in place, we can now install our bolts on the back side. All right, let's go ahead and torque these down. Go ahead and torque these down to 87 foot-pounds. Install your flex hose bracket. Just need to install that bolt on the back side of the knuckle through the bracket there. Tighten that down. Once that bottoms out, just give it a little bit more. Make it good and snug. Remove the lug nut. We're going to put our jack on our lower knuckle here, and we're going to go ahead and compress this to its neutral ride height. So we're going to raise this up till the vehicle just starts to move off of our lift, or in your case, probably your jack stands. Now the rear control arm here, this nut gets torqued to 27 foot-pounds plus an additional 180 degrees. So it's basically half a circle. So however you decide to do that, you can run an extension further up and above the top here and crank that 180 degrees. Let's go ahead and hit our 27 now. We calculated roughly our half a turn. At this point here, we can go ahead and lower our jack. Let's torque down our nut. It's going to be 50 foot-pounds plus an additional 90 degrees. And we can see our steering is turning here, so let's go ahead and rotate this so it locks out. This is our 50, so 90 degrees is an additional quarter turn. Our outer tie rod here is going to be 37 foot-pounds plus an additional 80 degrees. There's a 37, and then just under a quarter turn. There we go. Let's torque our upper nut here to 35 foot-pounds, and then we're going to finish up by going an additional 90 degrees, which is a quarter turn. Okay, let's do that quarter turn. Go ahead and grab your wheel, line that up, set it into place. We want to go ahead and get all of our lug nuts started by hand, and then we'll snug them down. Go ahead and torque your lug nuts down to 130 foot-pounds. I'm going to do this in a crisscross pattern. After finishing this installation, it's important to have an alignment done on your vehicle.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.